Yes, and gentlemen, this episode is called Do the Opposite. We live in a world where uh, racism is one of the biggest things, but not only is it one of the biggest things, it has produced the results of what we call white privilege, the money, the financial system, the money system. It has produced so many results that go against um, any and everything that could be beneficial to other people, especially black people or just black people, period. All of this was built against us. But did you know that at one point in time, the Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopic Sea? Once upon a time, the world was closer together than it is now. And we ran things at a very high level. We did things at a high level. We traveled the world. Did you know that we used to take the Canary Current from the west coast of Africa and travel to Mexico and kick it with the people in Mexico and bring gold and barter our gold for corn? Did you know that? Did you know that the map that you look at today isn't the correct way that the map should actually look? The map is bogus. The way they tell you to live your life isn't the way that you should actually live your life. The man, woman, and the black community should not be broken up. Even if the woman is on welfare, she should not push the man out of the house. Pay attention to the things that they are telling you, and you should probably do the opposite.
When they talk about, I saw this video. The guy was talking about saving money. He says, they always tell the working class, you need to save, you need to save, you need to save. So what we do, we get out, we get us a checking and a savings account. You know what I'm saying? We start putting money away, get the lowest interest rate possible on our savings, and
Mm-hmm.
we're expected to kind of like live this life of privilege or prestige or whatever. But the ones who's telling us to do this aren't the ones saving; they're the ones investing.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? They invested in those very banks that you're using. You know what I'm saying?
To
So
to
the
anybody that's
idea,
listening,
the idea of whatever you're told, question it and try to
yeah,
do the opposite. See what results you get.
yeah. There's a lot going on that you could do the opposite of, and it could work in your benefit. Uh, yes, you should put your money in the bank, but you should invest your money. If you got a phone, an iPhone, you should put your money into Apple stock. If you got Nike shoes, you should put your money into Nike stock. There's nothing wrong with doing these things. You should make your money work for you. It shouldn't just sit in the bank and just collect. Your money should always be working for you. Um, I have,
Because your bank is going to put your money to work when you put it in your savings account.
yeah,
They're going to actually loan that money to somebody else.
yeah, they're gonna give
You know
your
what I'm saying?
money to what do they call it? Hedge funds, the guys
Yep.
on Wall Street. Your money gets bartered behind your back without you knowing it.
And you get
Your
no cut.
Yep, your 401k. Uh, they will take your 401k and play around with it. And if they just so happen to lose it, they will lose your money and you will get nothing out of that but a sorry. So do things that, can help put you in a better situation. Do things that help your money grow. Cause it sitting in the bank, it ain't really doing shit. It ain't doing shit. Like even if you get you some type of interest on it, you're better off putting it in a Roth IRA. You're better off getting a term life insurance policy. It's different things that you can do to make your money work for you. Do the opposite
Yep.
of what they're telling you to do out here. Uh,
Like
to the
everybody
young,
doesn't have an entrepreneurial mind.
no,
Everybody's not an entrepreneur, but there are various ways you can make your money work for you that doesn't require so much of the risk that you may not be qualified to take.
yes, sir.
But do the opposite. Think of the opposite.
Yeah,
Whatever it is you think that seems to be the standard and the status quo, think about it and just try the opposite.
yeah. To the young men and women from these impoverished neighborhoods all around the city of Chicago. When you look at the landscape of where you are, everybody's doing negative shit, aren't they? Do the opposite. Do the opposite. You'll get further in life figuring out what it is that you want to do than listening to those who are headed to a graveyard or a jail cell. If you are an artist, do as much art as you can. Surround yourself with people from the art field. They don't have to be the richest or the dopest or the brightest people, but get yourself into that field. Get yourself around people who
Yeah.
are familiar with that field and build relationships, network. Get yourself into those circles and into those communities. Because at some point, one day, it'll work out in your favor.
Think
It's,
long term legacy.
yeah. The cemetery is filled with motherfuckers who didn't get their dreams off. It's filled with motherfuckers who didn't get their chance to make money because they didn't strive for it and they didn't know how to execute the game plan. Partly because they were in these fucking circumstances and conditions. And they thought that it was okay to chase what everybody else was doing. But it's not. Do the opposite, man. Do the thing that's going to make your life better. Don't go doing what everybody else is doing. I'll say this too. I said it before. The jail system is full of motherfuckers that look like us. We got to stop that shit. The school to prison pipeline is a very big thing in our neighborhoods. You see how they're doing schools, they're cutting the curriculum out. They continuously change the way the history books look. That is all set up to put us either in a job working for someone or send us directly to a jail cell or the graveyard. And we have to be mindful of that and we have to pay attention to that and we have to reverse that because a lot of us or all of us are dope at a lot of different things. Some of you all will go on to be great speakers. Some of you all will go on to be great physicians, chemists, doctors, lawyers, accountants, all this different stuff. But it's better than a graveyard and it's better than sitting in a jail cell when your life is on hold. Do the opposite of what these people are out here telling you, man. Y'all got life in y'all body. Y'all got chance. Y'all got the chance to change the trajectory of your whole family based on doing the right thing. Take the time out to do that. It's so easy in this world to be negative. Man, listen. Every day I wake up and I have to choose not to be negative. I have to choose not to
It's a choice. It's a
because
choice.
but I come from the environment where motherfuckers wanted to test me, so now I got to test you back. But here we are at the age of I never thought I would make it to my 40s. And here I am as a 40-year-old man in 2023 doing better than a good percentage of the people that I grew up with. And a lot of them ain't here. And when I
Yeah.
say ain't here, I mean dead in a jail cell because they just rotting away, or they dead in a cemetery rotting away. Do the opposite, man. Do the opposite out here. You got the time, you got the energy. Chase your purpose. Find out what your purpose is and chase that. I said this on the podcast before. The man who did the formula, the cleansing application 409, it took him 409 times before he got it correct. So everything ain't gonna hit on the first try. But if you keep going, sooner or later, that one is gonna take off. And then everything after that for you would just be repetitious because you've worked on it so hard that it's so easy. Michael Jordan said over his career, he missed 9,000 shots or more. But they never pay attention to those because they admire him for the ones that he did make. Why? Because they counted more. But the 9,000 he missed are the ones that prepared him for the legacy that he had. So we salute Michael Jordan, right? We salute LeBron James for breaking the records that he's broken. But work on a thing that can keep you going and get you into the spot that you want to be in. Because the streets ain't shit. The streets don't have nothing for y'all out here. And it ain't a lot of money out here either.
You know what I was thinking, bro?
What's that, my guy?
I was thinking that just while you was talking, I was thinking that the biggest uh I guess the biggest burden on on disenfranchised people nowadays currently is complacency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a
The
fact.
how quickly we settle for what's right there in front of us as opposed to like really putting ourselves up against the burn and the hurt and the pain that's going to drive us to be great. You know what I'm saying? Like people who don't even want to go to the gym have that same mentality, that complacency. People who don't work out in general have that complacency. They don't want to be uncomfortable. But
Yep.
the crazy part about it is life is about the human life is about discomfort.
Correct.
The greatness only comes from discomfort. The slaves who escaped with Harriet Tubman, They chose discomfort over their current situation. They knew the routine of their day to day. You know what I'm saying? But they knew that that wasn't for them. So they got the fuck out that jam. You see what I'm saying? But it's a bunch of them who stuck around, who stayed like this ain't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be out here than potentially get caught and killed, or potentially get killed by a wolf or a bear on the way to wherever the hell we going. How I even know that she know what she's talking about.
Right.
That's the mentality. That's that complacency, right?
The
So we
unknown.
have, yeah, the fear of the unknown,
Yes, sir.
and that drives complacency. It makes you rationalize bullshit. It makes you rationalize what you consider to be your own personal safety over your own personal progress. Safety is a safety is a reward. It's not a standard.
No. And what people
You get
don't
what I'm saying?
understand,
As
what people
if you're
don't
a
understand
man,
is you can't in this life, the way they have it set up now is that you can choose freedom or you can choose safety. And a lot of people don't actually know what their freedom is or
exactly,
the right to have their freedom. They don't know what it is. So they're choosing safety under someone else's guise. And when you choose safety,
exactly.
you have to take the conditions of what they
Of
say,
whatever that, yep.
of the rules and the regulations that they say of what safety is
You want to be safe, there's the rules. The mob used to do it all the time.
all the
They
time.
go around, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I know you don't want to get stuck up doing more. You know what I'm saying? So how about this? You pay us for security. I'll provide you your insurance. That's what Progressive, Geico, all of them is doing. They selling you the quote unquote guise of safety,
Yep.
but they're
And
holding you accountable.
yep.
So what people need to understand though is that you can't be so afraid that you're gonna lose, that you're gonna get hurt, that something may happen to you, as long as you're doing the right thing and you're moving in the right direction. Move with a purpose. You get what I'm saying? Day in
Yeah.
and day out, we see people who chose their personal safety over their personal progress. They
Absolutely.
stay in the same job because they already know what they're doing and they don't want the headache of being in this. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be under pressure. You know what I'm saying? They be so scared when shit go down in the streets, but they live in a neighborhood where shit go down in the streets, and they act so surprised when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They chose to be comfortable, complacent, as opposed to saying, "Man, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get out of this jam and improve my standard of living." You know what I'm saying? And that also means that the further up you go, it don't mean it's more time to kick it. It's more time to go travel and go and party and all those shit just because I came up on some more money. That means mentally prepare yourself for those next phases and challenges.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
The better you get at something, the better you get at something, the more you acquire financially. It means the more you have to stay focused
The more you have
and
more at risk.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Go get you a firearm, do some firearm training. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because guess what? The same motherfuckers who was on the bottom looking up, trying to figure who they can stick up and rob. They ain't trying to rob a nigga who only got $30 in his pocket.
No, they
They
looking
gonna
at
try to
you.
rob the nigga that they know got at least 1,000 or more than whatever the fuck they got. So you got to think
That's a
about it like
fact.
that. If you when you upgrade your life, somebody's always watching you.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a
Whether they
big
whether
fact.
they inspired by you and they want to, you know what I'm saying, they want to learn from you and they want to be like you because you're a role model now,
Mm-hmm.
or you're a target. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it go, man. It ain't just black folks. Think about all the wealthy white people who go through similar shit. It might not be on the exact same parallel, but you think about it like this. How many times you hear about a wealthy person getting sued by somebody in their entourage or some shit like that,
That's who you that
or
yeah,
somebody getting extorted?
yeah, it's usually gonna be in front of people you know.
That's
It's
how
usually
it
gonna
go, bro.
yeah,
Because
absolutely.
that person got complacent, but they got thirsty. That's what happened when you get complacent and you don't figure out a plan. When life
Yeah.
get rough for you, but you don't get comfortable, and all of that's when motherfuckers start taking out them loans, fucking they credit up because they done got complacent. They went and partied away they fucking rent money, they car no money. They had a car no they knew they couldn't afford, but they wanted that car.
But you know what? I think that comes from a lack of and I'll say it, I'll call it ignorance, but the word ignorance just means that you don't know it. I'm not it's not
Yeah,
an insult.
you're ignoring it. Yeah.
You just don't know. You don't know any better. So when some of us or any person that's broke or poor get a couple dollars, the first thing we want to do is we want to feel like we did something. So we want to go spend. But the thing about it is we don't realize that the things that we're spending money on, they don't have any value to them once we buy them. The clothes, some of the shoes that we buy, a lot of that stuff don't have no value.
See, that goes to my point though, bro. Because think about it like this. Because you said it, like, you know what I'm saying? When you broke, when you poor, you used to not having, first inclination is to spend. But the
Hmm.
first thing you're thinking about when you before you ever get that little bit of money, what you're gonna do different,
Yeah,
what you could
yeah,
do different. Motherfuckers always thinking about, always talking about it, man. I can't wait till I get, man, if I hit the lottery, I'm moving my whole family out the hood. When I do this, I'm a blah 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 blah.
right,
Or they get
right.
their little income tax and shit like that, or you know what I'm saying, they get that whatever they get. They don't none of that shit be in the forefront of their mind. Maybe I should just go ahead and do the right thing. No, the first thing they go, man, I'm finna give me some Hennessy, I'm gonna get high. You only live once, can't take it
Yeah,
with you when you die.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's you know what I'm saying?
And the other part of it is like, and it's not, it's of course it's not being disrespectful. How many people do we know that live on welfare generationally? They've passed it down from generation to generation to generation, and they've gotten complacent with the fact that they get this money or that they're getting
All
these
they gotta
services
do
off this
is get their
program.
kids these shots and
Yeah,
have their house inspected.
yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? To fill out this
Instead
form
instead
reporting
of
your
taking those
income.
benefits and using them to save for the next 5 to 10 years and get themselves into a home or buy a piece of property that can forever change their life and change the dynamic of the way their family works and moves.
Dude, they offer fucking education, supplementation, and work programs. It ain't just food stamps and medical, right? But a lot of these motherfuckers get on that shit and they reject the work program because it cut into the benefits. The only reason why the benefits are as big as what they are is because the system is assuming, hey, this person may need this for a little bit until they get on their feet. But they also know that if a motherfucker decide not to get on their feet, then we can go ahead and manipulate and triangulate a way to keep this same group of people out of the way. Because that's really what that is.
And
You keep
and
motherfuckers out of the way while the people who out here getting money don't have to worry about them stepping on their toes.
and
They not in
it's
the way.
you would think that some of us would have learned and paid attention to the things that take place when we on welfare, like the foods that we eat and the bad foods, all the sugary foods and everything. But it's almost
But
like,
it tastes good.
yeah, it just tastes
That's
good.
why.
That's all. It's filler. It's not healthy. It's just filler. It
There's
just
no education. They
no.
don't they don't like they don't think about it like this. What To me it makes sense where they do because on my job they had these monthly standardized trainings we have to do, right? If I don't get if I miss one for a month, I gotta go speak to my supervisor.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like one every month, it's a different subject, different criteria depending on what your qualifications are and shit like that. But we gotta do them. That's how they kind of maintain the standard of what it is we should and shouldn't know in
Okay.
terms
Okay.
how it pertains to the job. Why don't I think that because I've paid money and you pay money into this pot that goes to these people. My mom was on it. You know what I'm saying? I know what that shit look like. Why not kind of like require that they take some classes that you can test them on once a month?
I
If you
mean, you
want the best
should.
outcome, just say,
You
hey, I
should.
want you to take a child rearing safety, fire safety in the home class, and in the class, a fire safety in the home test. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, you got kids at home, the motherfucker might burn. These we got 10 questions for you to answer. Answer these 10 questions. If a fire break out in your kitchen, how do you use a fire extinguisher?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Different stuff like that. Dude, it's 12 months in a year. You got 12 of them to do for the year. If you
Yeah.
miss one of them, you gotta go, that's when you get a call.
And someone comes out to
Stand
see about you to see if like if your living standards are up to code or if they have to take some of your benefits away from you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the way I think about it. And it's a motivator too. Because what's real crazy is like the more we know, we like to talk about what we know. You know what I'm saying?
Now you
We
gotta
love to talk about some new shit we learned.
yeah, that's cool, but at some point you gotta put it to use, whatever it is
But I'm
that you
saying like the conversation becomes a community conversation then. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So like your mama got to take these classes, right? She got to take do these little tests once a month because she on the program. She gonna talk to her kids about it. You know what I'm saying? So her kids gonna learn this shit because they ain't teaching that shit in school. So now you got a whole, you know what I'm saying? It trickles down. Mamas love talking about the little gossip that they learned, they got, or what they had to go through today. And mama
All the
say in a
time.
heartbeat what she had to go through today.
All the time. All the
You
time.
know what I'm saying? Because women are more vocal, they more social, and they pass that along to their children. So like, motherfucker, like, man, my mama said that if a fire break out in the house, you stand 8 feet away with the fire extinguisher and you sweep at the bottom of the fire. You'll put it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are conversations that I mean, they sound minuscule now, but if you think about it on the grand scheme in the long term, what that looks like, and that's just one small example of what this entire program could be. If but there's no incentive, man, people are not incentivized to upgrade in no way, form or fashion.
But why should you be incentivized to do the right thing though?
Dude,
why do I have to
what
pat
that's
you
a
on the back
social
to do the right
construct though.
thing?
That's a social construct.
There,
The
let me
right
say
thing
this
is a
too.
social
Let me say
construct.
this too. I'm not, I probably shouldn't, but I'm gonna say this. There are people that I work with, who want you to pat them on their back for doing a job that they were hired to do.
Because they're used to that. That's what they've received. They receive affirmation on so many levels their whole lives. They've become accustomed to it. They expect it. It's like a dog. You give a dog, you play fetch with a dog enough, he expect you to start throwing shit.
Like they were in there talking about it in this meeting. And it was like, I feel like you guys don't recognize me for the stuff that I do. And yeah, I kind of I was like, what? And I was like, oh, my fault, my fault. And then someone was like, no, go ahead and speak. I was like, no, I didn't have nothing to say. It's crazy that someone says they don't get recognized for the job they do. But that's a job you kind of not kind of that's a job you really got hired for. You were hired to do that job.
But
Why does anyone
some
have to
people are
recognize you
hardwired for
for it?
validation, bro. Some people are hardwired for validation. I swear, I work with
I tell
motherfuckers
you,
like that.
validate me this way. Pay me. Give me more money. That's all I'm saying.
But see, you come from well, I'm telling you, all of this is weaved together. All of this is weaved together well.
Mm-hmm.
We come from that though. You see what I'm saying? The highest validation you can give me is paying me for my work. Show
That's
me
it.
that appreciation. All that pat on the back shit. I can't eat that.
I cannot
I
eat
can't
that.
keep the lights on with that.
No,
You know what I'm
no.
saying? So that's how we are hardwired. That we come from that. But a person who's like uh receive awards at school and got the pat on the back from the principal and ranked number 5 in the graduating class and all that shit, they believe because of their experiences that validation is currency. And those are actually the easiest employees to please. You're the toughest employee to please.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? It's easy for the company to just go ahead, hey, give him what he wants, give him a fucking plaque, get him up out of here, give him a certificate, get him up out of
Yeah.
here. Matthew is the one we really want to talk to
Yeah.
because they get
What does
their
he
best
want? Dinner?
performance out of you being complacent. So whatever it takes to bring you to complacency, their price is way higher for complacency than theirs. So they'll never satisfy that with you.
If he wants a dinner, go ahead and give him a dinner. What you want? You
Yeah,
want a team dinner? What does he want? You want us to pay for him and his wife or some shit like that? Nah, nah,
yeah.
nah, nah,
You see what
nah.
I'm saying?
It's
For
deeper
you,
than
the
that.
price is so high, but your output is impressive. So they look at it like, all right, this is the guy we really want to keep happy, and we know that that's a tall meal to order, a tall order to fill. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So we're gonna have to work with Matthew to get the results that we all want. Whereas this guy over here, who all he wants is validation.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, we got a closet full of validation.
Yeah, that ain't
We
nothing.
got some pre-made shit. Hey, just write his name on there in Sharpie and give it to
Yeah.
him.
And we'll write it off later on if it actually costs us anything, but because
Yeah, because
it's an easy
it's a low
fix.
price. Yeah,
Yeah, it's an easy fix. Absolutely. Uh, ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to all the things you hear and see. You know what I mean? Especially if it rings your bell, it gives you a funny feeling in your stomach, or it gives you a tingle in the brain. Sometimes a tingle in your brain just means that you need to research it and find out more about it.
yep.
Again, do the opposite. In school growing up, I think I've said this on my podcast before. In school growing up, they told us that Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin, and some guy invented the Alexander Graham Bell and then invented the phone. And I was like, which one of these fools actually thought that they were making a job better for some niggas? Because none of them were. So why would a white
Mhm.
man invent a so why would a white man invent a cotton gin to help us? I still to this day don't believe no white man invented a cotton gin. I think a black man said, man, I'm not about to keep picking this motherfucking cotton, bruh, and spending 16, 18 hours out in the hot fucking sun.
Oh my mama.
What white man got up one day and was like, you know what? Let's help these niggas out.
Dude, I'm tired of these niggas suffering. When I was a kid, I watched this shit. I'm tired of it. I'm gonna do something
I'm
different.
tired of them asking for a bucket of water. You know what? Let's
This
just help
water
these niggas
costs.
out. They
Yeah,
got they got blisters on their feet. You know, they ain't producing enough slaves.
right.
I
They
don't I don't think it went that way. Alexander
no,
Alexander Graham Bell had help from Lewis Lattimore. So did I think a lot of them guys had help.
because they kept a nigga around.
Yeah. And from what I know from reading historically, when you see black people standing on the side of white people in pictures, the white person is the student and the black person is the teacher. From what I've read in history, the black person is usually the master. When they stand out to the side, they are watching like a father watches a child. That's what's actually happening in the pictures. But that's just the stuff I read, and a lot of the stuff I read ain't been proven wrong. Salute to all the ancestors, Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, um, Ushaka Musa Barashango, and so many others. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate those people, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, and so many others that left some monumental historical books that kind of shape the way that I see things, and not just shape the way I see things. It made me more interested and intrigued to go out and find out more. Not just read one book and think that I know it all, but it made me read another book and another book, and then not just read the book, but study, and then go find out some of this shit for myself. So um, it's important that you don't just take in the information that you hear. You know, I think Six said it on an episode one time. You grow up and you get to an age of accountability, and you realize that some of the things that your parents was doing, you find out that that shit ain't it. That shit ain't gonna work right now, or it was never gonna work. You know. So instead of beating your head against the wall, trying to jump through the wall, doing something incorrectly, step back and look at the situation and go, man, maybe this ain't gonna work. Maybe I should do the opposite. Maybe I should try this a different way. We got a lot of people running around here in the black community doing things the wrong way. It's time out. What they say, the definition of insanity is what?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Expecting a different result. And you're not gonna get a different result, you know?
Life don't even work that way.
No,
There's
that's a
no
fact.
evidence of it in nature.
Mm-mm.
You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? Like that's what's crazy, man. It's like I was, we when we was talking off mic, you know what I'm saying, and how all the realizations kind of culminate. They come to this fine point, this centered point where it's like you kind of realize that it's big. It's far bigger than just design at this point, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Colorado River running through the Grand Canyon at this point. It's set in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This shit is on fucking on cruise control right now.
I got a question away from this. On the history side, do you think that life could have started here in America before it started in Africa?
Nah. I think that the tectonic plate shifts too much for I think this continent ain't as old as I mean it's old, but it's not the oldest. And it's not old enough to even what I'm saying, be considered as such. I think that
Because there are similarities. That's why I asked. There are similarities. The
yeah.
Mississippi River, the Nile River, uh, the way that we speak about or people speak about Egypt and all that, and then you have Memphis here, and maybe there are correlations deep, and things that might have happened. But I'm curious about it. It's just something that I've been thinking about lately. I
I
gaze off.
believe that uh I believe that our recorded history is super young. I think our understanding of
Absolutely.
recorded I believe our understanding of recorded history is naive. And I believe that there probably been like three iterations of this. way before what we consider to be our modern uh our apex moment. You know what I'm saying? We're not we've where we are right now don't even measure up to where we've been as a species. And
Yeah, I think right. I think that we're at a low point right now, but that's just me. Keep going.
I think that where we are technologically is probably a byproduct of like discovering some shit that was buried away,
Hmm.
and we probably found it late, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I think that the shit been buried away far longer than our recorded history's been around.
Do you
So
think that
like the
we
difference,
found it late, or do you think that if it ended up in the wrong hands due to war?
I think that whoever found, I'll say this. Let's say it did. Let's say black people had it the whole time, right? Just like you know how the conversations usually go. We had it the whole time. We didn't protect it well
No, we didn't.
because look at where it's at now.
Correct.
So I would even look at I would use like I would use Wakanda as an example.
Hmm.
Wakanda is domed off under a vibranium shield that can't be detect that radars can't see through and shit like that, right? Uh, but what was his name?
Neymar.
T'Challa.
Oh, okay.
Uh, T'Challa made the announcement of vibranium to the world through the United Nations and blah blah
Hmm.
blah, and kind of gave the world the whole spiel. And that's what Neymar kind of got pissed about because he was like, dude, now these motherfuckers out here, you know what I'm saying, they trespassing, looking for the shit because your guy who ain't here no more thought he was being noble.
He done opened up
I look at it
Pandora's
like
box.
I believe that that's similar to how it was with us. I think like when the Moors went around trying to civilize nations and shit like that, they opened Pandora's box.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that like nobody talks about Tartaria. That's where Russia sits now. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? That was an advanced civilization. It was a mixed community. It wasn't just white folks up there. It was
Yeah.
Asians. It was black people up there. They were building fucking crazy monumental structures and shit like that. We don't talk about that no more though.
Mm-mm.
And that civilization existed all the way up into the early 1900s. But
It's
we don't talk
crazy.
about that no more. You
Yeah,
get
it's
what I'm
crazy.
saying?
It's crazy.
And the Tartaria is like what you would consider to be like okay, it was a strip, it was a massive area in the Asian in the Eurasian area. So Tartaria was just what they called it, but it was a bunch of smaller countries in it.
Was that
You know what I'm saying?
also
Like
a part of
Canada
like
would be kind of
Japan?
like, yeah, like no, you know, Japan is its own island. It's not
Okay.
even bigger than,
Okay.
but you would think like I would say like China is, or like Canada is, where all these different provinces and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Or the United States. United States ain't up but 50 small countries.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's how that was up until it no longer exists.
Or it should be 50 small
Nobody
countries.
questions why was something so massively and expansively successful just all of a sudden cease to exist. And why wouldn't that be possible to happen to what we got going on now? Nothing's off the table, bro.
Mm-mm.
Nothing's off the table. If it goes against the status quo and the majority say, hey, this motherfucker gotta go, we gotta change this up. Who gonna fight it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's like El Rukens. Ain't no El Rukens no more.
They out here, but it's not the movement behind it
That's the
isn't.
point I'm making.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So like when the majority come in and say, you know what, we changing shit up. We got what you had. We own this shit now. Shit gotta change. Who gonna fight against it? A small minority of people,
Yeah, and but at that
and they
point
gonna
it's
get
too late.
and it's too late.
It's too late at
And
that
that's what
point.
happened with all this tech we got right now, bro. The world wars, I believe, was over technology. It was a technological war. I think that they use I think that they used the Holocaust as a mechanism, the same way they used the weapons of mass destruction as a mechanism. Who knows what the fuck they took from Saudi Arabia when they invaded all those Arab nations in the early part of this century, bro? Who knows what they really took? But
Yeah.
whatever the fuck they took is coming. It might even be AI.
Yeah. Only thing I was thinking of at the time when they said weapons of mass destruction, only thing I was thinking about was dope and oil.
I think it's bigger than that, bro. I think
It
whatever
could
the
be.
fuck
I'm
it
just saying, but
is,
at the time, I was like, man,
I
they
think
just
that's what they wanted
dope
us to
and
think,
oil.
though.
Yeah,
I believe they wanted us to think about it on the most basic level.
yeah,
But whatever it is, it has to be life changing. It has to shift the paradigm.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Because
saying? Technology, the internet shifted the paradigm. The internet is a utility. It went
yeah,
from being like a little gimmick. Oh, ooh, look cool. You can send emails and
a
blah blah blah.
resource
To
tool.
now you need it.
Yeah,
It's like lights.
yeah.
It's like gas. It's like water. You
Because
need it,
motherfuckers went to war with countries. It's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. What did y'all find underneath the earth?
man.
What did y'all
It's a
find
massive
underneath the
resource. It's a
Yeah,
whatever they got, whatever they took, is a massive resource.
yeah.
It may even have something to do with the chips and shit like that. Because all the precious metals that's required to run this internet shit and to advance us technologically, you need access to those precious metals, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
This shit don't advance just by virtue of existing. It needs pieces and parts and people to be, you know what I'm saying? So people to be creatively advanced enough to think of new ways to push this forward.
and
Dope boy selling heroin ain't gonna do it. Selling oil
and
ain't gonna do it.
and and the other part is, there ain't no telling like what the servers are actually going through. If they're burning up because there's so much usage for
Yeah,
the
they got to make
internet.
it faster and
Yeah,
broader. And you know they got a bunch of them in the ocean. They fucking have whole service farms in the ocean and shit. But it's cooler down there. You know what I'm saying?
just a heads up, ladies and gentlemen. This may cut off on us. I'm not sure if it's gonna do it, but it just may cut off. I'm just saying that. Keep going.
But yeah, I'm just saying like how like whatever it is that we as a people have been convinced to believe and think, they're doing a good job at keeping it contained in a way where we can because we have real life problems. We have real life issues. Those real life problems and issues have been nurtured. They've
Hmm.
been, you know what I'm saying, developed and put in place in a way where they're functional parts of a bigger scheme. And it's bigger than just the way you feel. It's real life shit that's happening.
Yeah.
But the thought of actually, like you said, do something different, switch it up. You could shatter this whole fucking facade, everything that they're working on. Everybody decided I'm gonna just switch it up.
Yeah. You know what? Today I'm not doing that no more. And if a
Yeah,
million motherfuckers decided they wasn't gonna do it, or 10 million
all this
decided,
shit come down.
yeah, if 10 million people just decide, you know what, working at
I'm
the
not fucking
seaport.
with Twitter and Facebook and all that other
Yeah.
shit. I'm gonna go outside.
Yeah. We're not working at the seaport. We're not working at the docks today. We're not doing fireman work today. We're not doing construction and lumber work today. We're not doing none of this shit. I'm about to go be with my family for the rest of the week.
Yeah, give them a week. Just take a week and just do you. Just do some shit that's actually fruitful, something that's meaningful.
Yeah.
Like
Decompress. Yeah, decompress
you've
and
been
just be with your
convinced
family.
that every bit of your societal obligation is all that matters. But the same people that are convinced you of this are probably the most selfish people, and they've
Hmm.
already secured their legacy.
That's a fact, man. To everybody again, do the opposite. Do the opposite. This country is it runs, man. It's a crazy game, and history has taught us if we continue to do the same things over and over again, we're gonna repeat it. And from what it looks like, we're doomed to do it
We're
all over
teaching our
again.
children to do it, and
Yeah,
we're doing it without question. They don't even question why we got to do it this way. We make it look so appealing, so good.
yeah, yeah, and they do it because they're being told.
They trust the person that's delivering the info.
To all the
And
men who are listening, the woman is the nurturer. You are the nature. That makes you the order in chaos. All right. You have to be the balance of the two. You have to be able to discipline and then let them have fun. You have to be able to teach them and let them have fun. Young men, older men, it is your job to make sure that you are the order in chaos. You are the nature in the household or to your kids. Hey, Six, did you know that a lot of single fathers do better than single mothers? Did you know that?
yep, yep. And also know though, That a lot of the court systems in most of the states don't even agree with that because they still going by the 1955 doctrine.
Yeah. And the other part is, especially
They're not looking at modern statistics.
especially if you're a black man, you definitely don't want they definitely don't want black men having their kids in the home. We know that for a fact.
Like having a father at home alone. Like actually, black fathers have been ranked better fathers overall.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're likely most likely the most active. You know what I'm saying? We're mostly present. I don't know a lot of dudes. It's crazy because I know more dudes who are active in their children's lives than I know that aren't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But maybe it's just because of the circle that I've kind of kept myself in. I
And
haven't.
I think the way that we grew up as well is different. Like we don't accept guys in our circle that don't really take care of their kids because you look like a sucker. And if you're gonna be a sucker, I'd rather you look like a sucker over on the side without me. I don't want to be attached to you and your bullshit. You
And
know,
also, I look at it like I've always looked at it like if you came and be reliable and trustworthy amongst the people that depend on you, then there's no way I can have you around me because I can't rely on or trust
yeah, you're untrustworthy. There's no respect, and at some point in time, you will either create a situation and leave me hanging, or your worth and value is stuck to nothing.
you. Yep.
It's not dependable. You're not dependable. Um, and over the years, I was able to find out a lot about people who were like that. And here's the thing I say, because of my level of respect for certain people, I never talk bad about them either. Even when if they were deadbeat dads or uh whatever the situation may have been where I couldn't deal with them no more. I never said nothing bad about people because of my level of respect. It was easy to say, hey, me and that person just don't get along. We don't share the same ideals. We don't click very well. So I just stopped fucking with them. It's easier for me to just do that than to just badmouth people and bash them. Because I don't think some people understand, man. You get closer to an ass whooping, especially if you shared space with people and you shared time. You get closer to an ass whooping, or you make yourself look bad by bashing people, by sitting around just talking about people and gossiping like a little bitch. You get closer to looking bad yourself by trying to throw dirt on people's name. And the way that I was grew
Facts.
up, the way I grew up was if a person throws dirt on your name, at some point you got to come see him. At some point, you're gonna run across them, and you got to stand on all that shit.
Yeah, they gotta justify it. They gotta actually
Yeah,
address it.
absolutely, absolutely. You just can't speak on people and think that nothing will ever happen to you. It's in the works. Like there's nothing you can do about that. So to everyone else out there as well, do the opposite. If you don't fuck with people no more, just don't fuck with them. You ain't got to speak bad about people. I choose to just keep on going. But if I owe you something, I owe you something. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way it's gonna go. But it's easier to just walk away from a situation and leave people alone and say, yo, me and that man didn't get along well. Uh, that's what I'm gonna leave it at. Than to sit there and talk bad about them. Because it also said again, it says something about you that you had to sit around and dog people out. I choose not to. I choose not to because, like I said, at some point in time, if it was something, if it was some bullshit, I ain't gonna say nothing. And if it was some shit that actually affected me or affected you, I'm still not gonna say nothing because that was our relationship and that happened between us. But if it went bad, then it went bad, man. And you know what I'm saying? We're gonna deal with it when we deal with it. But you got people out here who don't have that level of respect. They don't have respect at all.
I think a lot of times people they keep themselves insulated with people that justify and validate their feelings on shit and people. So like a lot of times they got other people around them that be like, man, you all right, you're a good person. That motherfucker did you wrong. Only
Yeah,
because they sat there and listened to this motherfucker talk so bad about this person that they
yeah,
have become convinced
yeah.
that that person is right. So
Without hearing
now
the
all
other
they're doing
story.
is they never heard the other side. You know what I'm saying? So all they're doing is validating and justifying this person's behavior. And I see it all the time. We see it all the time, bro. That go
Mm-hmm.
back to what we was talking about, like with how you when you asked me how do women deal with it. A lot of the times that's how women deal with it. They hang around, they get around in circles of people that justify and validate it. We don't
Absolutely.
men don't have that. Men don't dude ain't gonna break up with his girl and go kick with a bunch of niggas that's gonna tell him the right way to deal with it. They're gonna tell him what they would do if they dealt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We gonna have to keep it. We keep it so real that we're not going to hold your hand and you know what I'm saying, tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? We're gonna be like, nah, man, that was me. That's what I do.
Yeah, because for men, we are naturally trying to resolve the situation or
Trying to
come up with
neutralize it.
yeah, or come up with solutions for it to say, hey, next time if it happens, this is what you should try, or hey, this is what I did. Uh, I don't sit around men who sit around and bitch and complain and gossip about other men because if you are, it more so says
It's
something
an
about you.
indication. It's an
It's a
indication.
very big indicator about who you are. You know what I
It's a
mean?
character. Yeah, it show character flaws.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
And
I'm
and
saying?
and again, growing up, I've seen people get beat the fuck up. I've seen people get their ears smashed together for talking about motherfuckers. So, you got to be very aware and careful. But there are people who are reckless and naive to the fact that that can actually happen to them. So,
I think that nowadays, and like I'm not out in the world functioning like that to actually know how people communicate. But from what I can tell nowadays, social media got people comfortable, and
very.
they will do and say almost anything for likes and views and clicks versus thinking about what the real life ramifications of those words and actions actually are.
One
You
thing
know what
I
I'm
never
saying?
needed though is validation for what I may feel is right. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I just go off the logic of it. You know what I mean? I don't need
Right.
nobody to validate the fact that I like the color blue or you like the color red or I believe that space is flat and you say that space is an empty void, blah blah filling up or whatever it is. Like it's two different opinions and trying to make someone else accept yours and believe in yours, you're seeking validation. You're trying to get someone to be convinced that what you're saying is real. And like I say all the time, I can let people talk and listen to them and be in total disagreement with them and not say nothing about it. Like I hear you. I don't agree with that, but I hear you. And keep on going.
But
Or go,
see,
yeah, yeah, I feel you. All right,
a lot
that's
of people
cool.
don't see you was trained as a boxer. You know what I'm saying? You have the way your brain is not wired the way like people who have no completionist value. You know what I'm saying? Again, when I was talking about being a completionist, like when we work on music, whatever we're doing, I'm thinking about what the end result will be and how we can kind of like round it out to get the best outcome we can possibly get with working with what we have. You know what I'm saying? I'm always thinking about it like that. Or when we had Aisha on and she was talking about, you know what I'm saying, her business and what her goals are, and you look at the evidence of it through her happiness, her joy,
Mm-hmm.
just talking about it. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? She has completionist value.
Yeah, she
You know
loves
what
it.
I'm saying? She loves it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? When you guys, most people don't have that, bro.
Yeah.
Most people don't have that. You know what I'm saying? They send their kids to the room and they go get on their phone while they're sitting in the bed, or
Yep.
they had a TV on, or you know what I'm saying? Nothing really to work on. No hobbies, nothing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just don't. Their hobby is getting drunk and high on the weekend. They living for the weekend.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
when she
Or
told me
fucking,
that when
or
she
just getting
told
out
me
here
that she
fucking.
didn't mind taking last minute dinners, but she had to slow it down because it became too much. But it was something that she loved to do because she was always trying to please and show people that
Hmm.
she could do it. It let me
Yeah,
know that she was comfortable with what she was doing and she was ready for any type of challenge because she had accepted that this is where she was.
that's what comes with it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
dude.
oh, she really into it.
And you think about these things, bro, and you look at how like we move as a people. We have been hardwired. Like if you're not entertaining motherfuckers, or in some form of fashion, or you're not like nowadays is if you're not getting views on social media, you're not, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote influencer. You're not really, you don't feel that validation. And you already know that social media drives dopamine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of us aren't really wired for that. I don't care about that shit, man. That shit don't, why? I spent the bulk of my adult life not having to deal with it anyway.
Correct. We existed before the internet phase and before the app, so it's easy for us to look at. For me, I ain't gonna speak for you. It's easy for me to just look at my phone at some point and put it down,
Put it down.
turn it off, and
Man, I'll let my
read my
battery go
books.
dead sometimes.
Yeah, I turn
You know
my
what I'm
phone
saying?
off, bro. I turn my phone off.
Like I don't need to be, you know what I'm saying, wired in like that. It don't do it for me. It's not helpful. to what I'm trying to accomplish. Now,
Yeah.
if I got access to the people I want to have access to, I want to have conversations with, then that's good for that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? We got our group chat. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Sometimes we've been there talking shit for an hour or two. Sometimes we
Absolutely.
don't say much at all.
Yeah. That's a
You know
fact.
what I'm saying? But the thing is it's good for that. Anything else is extra. I might post a picture of my dog, some new shoes. You know what I'm saying? My girl and me go out do some shit, something like that, something minor.
Yeah.
Other people use it as an absolute fucking tool to get attention. That's it. Not, they ain't get no money, just attention.
Yeah. They're just scrolling all day, man. Just
Yeah,
scrolling. Like
yeah,
and
and
nothing
watching videos,
and not
watching lives.
nothing is getting accomplished in the process of that. Like what are your personal goals? While you sitting there watching other people perform, act a fool, and get paid, what is your personal goal? Like what are you trying to do? Did you accomplish your goal today? Was it just working your job? Even after you work your job, did you go work out?
Right.
Did you
Have
go
you done something that actually make to advance your life in some form of fashion?
especially the
You know,
men, especially the young men? Work out, man. Work out. For real. Keep your testosterone levels up. Work out. Go play ball. Go do something
read a
that keep
book.
yeah, man. Do something, man. Hell, read the book after you go work out. Go
Yeah.
keep your body and your mind focused, man. Keep it sharp. Keep yourself chiseled, man. You don't want to
Yeah.
be out here.
Well,
You
you
don't
know,
want to be out. You don't want to be out here sluggish and just wasting away, going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. It's okay for those who just want to do that. But also add something to it. Add something to it. Use your body. Continuously use your body, man. Chisel it. Use your mind. Read your book on your commute home if you're using a train or bus. You use your mind on when you're at home. Meditate. Do things to keep yourself locked in. Don't just get up and go to work. I say this too. Man, I am exhausted, bro. All the shit I'm trying to do out here. But at the same time, I am enjoying the ride of it. It's a beautiful
yeah.
thing. It's a beautiful thing to have people want you to be involved in different projects, whether it be music, art, or giving back to the community, being a mentor work and shit like that. It's a beautiful thing. It's just about scheduling. It's just scheduling. The scheduling just has to work out. And now I find myself at points where I'm trying to schedule a week or two ahead.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you what's interesting to me. When I saw the news that Plug Two from De La Soul passed, not to date this episode, but
It's
you
all
know,
love. It's coming out soon.
but it kind of had me, you know what I'm saying? It ain't put me in a different mindset than a death of somebody of that magnitude or just a death of somebody I kind of relate to in some form of fashion, actually would ever have. Because Del Castro passed away, right?
Yeah, that was
When I
shocking.
think about it, when I think about it, I'm like two different levels of guy who was actually passionate about what they was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and they was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Two different levels of it because Del Castro was running good product music. He was constantly working, constantly promoting, constantly putting out people's projects and stuff like that that he was working with. And he was battling cancer.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And it kind of like I like dudes can't make no excuses with me, man. People can't make excuses with me. Especially under the premise of they don't got enough time.
Here's the thing about it, man. You make time for the things that you really want, to get access to. Like you make time for the things that you really want to be involved
But
in.
people get comfortable and complacent.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you really wanted to work out and get in shape, it's all about just getting up and going. You don't even have to go the whole your first couple months. You don't have to go every day, but get up and go 2 to 3 times a week. It's about just doing it. You know what I mean?
Give yourself 20 to 30 minute
Yeah,
workouts. 20 to 30
yeah.
minute workouts. Then they
And
work up from there.
one of the reasons when you say that like there are no excuses for me, like when I hear it is like, fam, either you doing it or you're not. And don't try, work on it. Either you're doing it or you're not. I'm not saying that you got to. I never think that anybody, when they tell me that they're working on something, I'm not asking nobody to be the best at it right out the gate. I done 150 episodes of this podcast. At no time am I going, this is the one that's gonna blow me, that's gonna get me over the hump. This is going to be one that gets a million views. I never care about that. I love doing a podcast. You understand what I'm saying? I did the podcast when motherfuckers said I couldn't do it. I did the podcast when people said it was a dumb idea. I did the podcast when people told me I would be spending too much money trying to hook all this stuff up and do it. I did a youth program when they told me I didn't know what I was doing.
That's
I
real
did
shit, bro.
I did music for years, still doing music when motherfuckers said that I was wasting my time. And it
Same
was,
here, bro.
but it was never about what they thought that I should do. It's about it's about you trying to fulfill a purpose. You're driven to do something. But
Complete something.
and why are you telling me what I can't do when you're probably somewhere making excuses for stuff that you're actually supposed to be working on, you haven't accomplished over the years?
And I see no evidence of completion in your life.
No, you probably got one or two things done, but there's a bunch of other shit that you done left undone on the table. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Motherfuckers,
I never understood that. Jay Dilla battled with fucking lupus,
lupus.
bro, and worked on beats
And
every
nobody talked about it. It was never even a conversation until he ended up in the hospital. No excuses, bro.
no
No
excuses.
excuses.
No excuses. There's a basketball player going around playing with one arm, and he getting better and better. No excuses. I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to
Dude, I'm
hear
gonna
it.
tell you straight up, man, on some real shit. And me and my brother had this conversation last night. And he told me straight up, he was like, one thing he admired about me is I always surrounded myself with like-minded people. And
Mm-hmm.
he said it wasn't even just like-minded people that was like, oh, yes men and nothing like that, but people who understood what I was into, and they tapped into it because they was into it too. And I
Yeah.
always had that. I had the ability to either pull that out of people or they would already own it, and it was a natural connection.
Yeah. That's a fact.
I was never out here just looking for friends because I don't need that.
I remember when I
You
came
know,
around, I was like, all right, I'm gonna work on the music. And then a conversation broke out, and he was like, yo, I fuck with you, need to come around a little bit more. And that was like the end all be all right there, the beginning of it all.
yeah.
Um, I and the best part about it was is because I kind of like threw something out there and it kind of stuck, and then you threw something out there and it kind of stuck in the room and
Hmm.
questions was asked. It was like, well, what do you know about this or what do you know about that? And we've been ingrained in conversation and music and culture ever since then. But you know,
And
it's
it ain't even about the music though, and that's what made the music was the seed, and the tree that grew from it ain't even just it ain't just music.
nah, my nigga. I done sat around and showed, and we done watch boxing. I done told you what to look for. You done sat around and told me about how you break down beats and what you look for. Like it's just different things that come up in conversation. It ain't just music. You my
Yeah,
guy. Like
just yeah.
I look at it beyond. If it was just music, I would I would only call you about music. But we talk about
We talk
everything,
about everything, life, just
everything.
life, like where we come from, what that looked like. You know what I'm saying? What it was like for me to be a father. You know what I'm saying? All of these different things, man. That's the thing about it, man. It's like a lot of people don't. I don't think people value those types of bonds and relationships too much no more because they're dealing with a lot of trust
Yeah,
and commitment issues and stuff like that.
yeah,
And again, it comes to me, and it always go circle back around to the whole completionist concept. This is the same thing with people who don't have like functional relationships. You know what I'm saying? People who can't maintain a decent relationship with somebody because when it start getting real, they feel like they need to run.
yeah. And
You know what I'm
running doesn't
saying?
help. Running puts you in a bad spot because it means, like you said, completion. It means that you can't
You're gonna see
fulfill,
this through.
you can't see nothing through. You know what I mean? And that's a handicap. That's something that you need to work on and say, man, you know what? I really value that person. If you actually value people and you respect people, you will see it through. You will make sure that you get an understanding and be able to clear the air with people. But I also understand some relationships aren't worth seeing through because there are certain things that you can do during a friendship, a relationship, a fellowship that aren't. It's a what's the word I'm looking for the phrase? It's a no fly zone. Like you may violate. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
may violate by
It's
saying
a
speaking on.
violation. Yeah.
Yeah, you may speak on certain things, and certain people may go, "Yo, I don't play around about that shit." So, yeah,
But see, that comes with it though. Like that's when you set your own personal boundaries and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't give a fuck about nobody else's boundaries. They just feel like you owe it to them to be a part of their life because they can't function without having that level of commitment. But see, that's childishness. You know what I'm saying? When you're out here in this world, it's cold out here, bro. We at the most civilized we've ever been in the last 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Since the dawn of our recorded history, we're at the most civilized. So that means that we're the most comfortable. We don't have any natural predators, no natural threats. We're at a point where we're our own predators and threats. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? So with all that said, it's like we don't have any real context for survival and thinking about what our next move should be and being committed to something. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's why we're so attracted to action movies. That's why we're so attracted to TV shows like The Walking Dead and
The
The Last
Last
of
of
Us and
Us.
stuff, because those shows are about commitment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Those types of movies are about commitment.
And
That's
struggle.
why, yeah, it's about overcoming some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we can watch and read and hear about these stories, and those stories keep us. We can be there without having to deal with it.
Let me say this concerning The Last of Us. On the last episode that just came out, there is a part where the young man what was the young boy's name? Sam.
Hmm.
The young boy said he wrote the note down to what's her name, Ellie.
Hmm.
He wrote to her and he said, "Are you scared?" And she kind of made a joke about it, but she said, "Yeah, I'm scared all the time." That reminded me of a time where growing up, and I'll share this. I think I shared it before because we talked off air. Growing up, when my mother, when the car water heater blew up in my mother's face, and my mother's skin was just burning, like it was just like melting off her. You know what I mean? And we had to go through dealing with watching that, seeing that, hearing her yell like that. The smell of it, you could smell it over the gasoline and everything else that was in the area, or at least I could, because I have a sensitive smell and all this other stuff. But dealing with that, my sister had asked me, my older sister asked me, she was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm cool." She said, "For real, are you okay?" I was like, "I'm all right." She said, "Why does nothing bother you?" She said, "Are you scared?" I was like, "I ain't scared. I'm not scared at all." She was like, "Are you worried about mom?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I could have lost my mother." I said, "I'm 10 years old. My father ain't around. And my mom almost died because of a fault, some shit with the happened with the car." She was like, "So you are you worried?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm worried." I was like, "Cause where do we go now? Like
If this if this don't go right, yeah,
we already in a fucked up situation. What happens next if like this is, you know what I'm saying? Are we going to the Audi home or what happens next with us? You know what I mean? So I related to that, because it took me back to that moment and then in a couple other moments with me and my older sister when we would talk about stuff um as far as being scared or feeling like like what's going to happen next, the nervousness or anxiety of it, like I don't when that happened, man. I think I was so sad but angry because I couldn't do nothing to help my mom.
you felt helpless.
Yeah, I felt helpless, but I don't the fear of it. I think it bothered me at first, but the fact that it took hours for her to come and talk to me about it. I think it was a couple hours before she said something like I had gotten over the fear of it, and I was just like, all right, what's gonna happen next? What do we do now since this has happened? We're in the custody of the police. The police are watching us. It's me, my sisters, my god brother, my god sister. Like we all together. Like what happens next? Like are we going to jail? Like what's gonna happen? Like who's gonna come get us? It was all that going on. So I kind of was like looking for the next thing to happen. What's the anxiety? I got anxiety. I'm nervous about what could happen next. But it took me back to that moment, man, in that episode when Sam was when him and Ellie were playing around with each other, and I was just like, man, that was just so relatable to me, you know.
You know what it is though for kids, because everything you saying I could relate to because I think about like that's how it was when my mom and my dad broke up. Like all
Mm,
right, now what? You know what I'm saying? Like if this is what's changing, now what?
yeah,
Because I couldn't really contextualize what decision making looks like from an adult's perspective, but still I was curious. Like, all right. This don't look good. Now what? I've heard stories about how this goes. Now what? And it kind of got me thinking like how like when all that shit was going on with my parents, and I watched how like everything kind of like manifested into a new challenge, a new era. I'm introduced to all of these different demons, all this different evil shit, all this bad shit, living on the low end, blah 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 blah. You know, so all this different stuff going on, and how I adapted to it. And I thought about like, you know what got me through a lot of that? Affirmation.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? It was like that's when I started getting into rap. You know what I'm saying? I used to write my little raps when I was like 9, 10 years old, but I didn't think nothing of it. But I started taking it more seriously when I ain't had shit else. You know
mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? My mom and my dad broke up. Life started getting real, bro. I was like, we was out there,
Yeah.
and I was being affirmed by people in my life that was kind of like, and I don't know, man. I don't know if it is more or less like, I don't know if it was validation, but I was definitely affirmed, bro. Because people were like telling me how dope my raps was and shit like that, and that kind of kept put the blinders on me, gave me something to look at, something to focus on. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? While all this bullshit happening in my life, cause shit, once my parents broke up, shit just started crumbling down.
Yeah, that's the
You know what
way
I'm
it goes.
saying?
That's
Piece
the way
by
it goes.
piece. Like my
Mm-hmm.
mom was a nurse, and she just thought in her head that she was good without him,
Mm,
and that shit came tumbling down. And our life just started going. We started taking major L's. But I was, man, dude, for some reason, I was just focused on my pen. I was focused on my pen. Me and my crew. I started a rap crew in high school and all this old shit. You know what I'm saying? But then we started moving around and shit like that. And I started learning how to network. You know what I'm saying? And I started establishing my own reputation. And it ain't had nothing to do with my mom. It had nothing to do with my dad. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And on top of that, I kept my little brother in the tuck. I wanted to
Mm.
protect him the same way I had isolated myself from the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That affirmation, I was affirmed by my peer group. You know what I'm saying? People saw something different in me than what was already commonplace. Because everybody was learning about the streets. Everybody was, you know what I'm saying? You between the ages of 13 and fucking 18, you learn everything you can know about sex in the streets.
Yeah. One thing I learned during that time is patience became a big thing because patience and learning how to remain calm, you know,
Definitely.
in the way of adversity and when trials arise, you have to have some type of calmness and peace and be able to stay centered when it's all going wrong. For me, boxing, when punches are coming
Hmm.
your way and you may have gotten clipped, you know what I mean? Or you may have lost your footing and a guy's charging in, or you just got a guy that just likes to come forward a lot. You just got to learn to relax, man. And as it comes to you, know what to do, know how to be proactive or just know when to react to everything. You know what I mean? That was one of the things I learned at a very young age. It's like never
That shit
let
keep you alive
yeah, never let someone get you out of
at your
your
frame.
box. Yeah,
Yeah,
off your square. Remember, as we used to say growing up,
yeah.
don't let nothing get you off your square and out your body to the point where you're reacting to things the wrong way. Um,
You gotta always control the scenario, control the
yeah,
narrative.
stay disciplined. And through that, and I'm not going, it's not that I was disciplined all the time because it took years to learn that. Because there were just times like growing up, there was the pride and ego makes you want to prove to people that, you ain't no punk or you ain't no sucker, you ain't no hoe. So you go through that phase, but as you get older and you become more aware and more knowledgeable of everything, you do better. You when you know better, you do better, and you realize that the patience kick in, and it tells you, look, we're not worried about that. If they're not physically doing anything to us, we don't have nothing to really worry about.
You learn
But
how to assess a threat.
Yep, but if it's in defense of your mother or your family, regardless of what they say or do, you might
You
have to
be,
just go. You might just
be
have to go
aggressive.
ahead. Yeah, you might have to just go ahead and bite down and show them what you're actually capable of. So it's always having patience has been one of the things, man. I'm very grateful that I got it. Don't like the way I got it, the situations that it was brought to me, but um I'm appreciative of that because it teaches you a lot, man. It teaches you that you can, through patience and through being able to relax, you're able to see the character flaws, not just the character of other people when they're being ignorant, dumb, and stupid. You're always able to recognize that when they're doing it, and it's one of those things that I'm very grateful again to be able to have when you're able to notice those things when you're dealing with people, you know.
Word. I think that's a big thing. I think that because it kind of got me thinking about like how the street organizations were back in the 80s and 90s, and how like a lot of when all the organizational aspects of it started to dwindle away, when the criminality of it became like the forefront, niggas hustling and you know what I'm saying, and trying to take over drug territory and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And it kind of made me think about like what where structure, having some discipline, could actually make us a formidable opponent to all this bullshit, but we just don't have any of the structure or discipline. And that comes again from like not having any male role models, father figures, and blah blah blah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I had to, you know what? I can't say I learned it all on my own, but that there was a small period where I had to learn some of that just by
Oh
myself
yeah,
to get
yeah,
through it.
trial
You know
and
what I mean?
error.
Yeah, yeah. But once I got into the gyms and the other thing of having was I had art because I don't know. I'll let people in on this as well. Um, I started doing art around 11 and making money off of it by the time I was 12 years old. Actually 11. I was making money when I was 11. You know what I mean? I was shoveling snow during the winter, and I was going around the city doing art pictures and paintings and everything during the summer. So I was able to make money, and that was another form of being able to relax and just stay in the moment for me as well. So um and a salute to everybody, man, that motivated me to do that, man, because it was like a dope hustle to have art in the summer and just be able to paint pictures and shit like that. But
Definitely.
to everybody that, again, if you're listening, if you get upset, do the opposite. Whatever, if your mind is telling you to knock a motherfucking head off and you don't have to, do the opposite. If it's not in defense of your life or your family or your kids, do the opposite. Don't let nobody talk you into some sucker shit to the point where you make a bad move that takes you away from all the things that matter and you end up in a graveyard or a jail cell. It's too many niggas sitting in a jail cell right now over stupid shit.
Real shit.
A lot of niggas, or there's quite a few men sitting in jail right now for following behind some dumbass nigga or some dumbass bitch. It's a lot of niggas sitting in jail or in a graveyard because a woman told them to do something. And now they pride and ego. They wanted to prove that they could do it.
That
Never
woman
do
could
that.
be their sister, their girlfriend,
Facts.
their mama, their aunt. I mean, because women are we supposed to defend our women, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
dudes don't realize that the woman you dating ain't really your woman until you make her your
That's a
wife.
fact. Yep,
Until
that
you
is.
make her your wife,
Yep,
y'all still courting. The
yep.
person who's supposed to be defending her are the males that are actually related to her.
That is the truth. That is not your woman until she is your wife. And if you get out here and defend her and you get
You could lose
killed,
your life.
you will lose your life, and this woman will move on without you. She will not care about you. If you
Even if
end
she
up,
your baby mama, if you haven't made her your wife, bro,
it
your
is a
defense
no
should be
no.
over your child. Everything should be related to your child.
Absolutely. Do the opposite, man. Do the
Do the
opposite.
opposite, man. We could do better. We got this.
Yep. Gauge the situation very well. What makes you want to defend this woman? Be
Or
careful
what
when
makes
you
you want to get involved in any of this drama?
absolutely.
Are you really equipped for what this may turn into? Because you know
Yeah.
when it's beef amongst men, shit can almost go lethal 80% of the time.
80% of the time it can go lethal. And on top of that, because you are not aware of who that person is, it may turn into some other shit. And
You
and
know, increase the odds of your own demise
yeah,
by
you're
not assessing the situation properly,
correct.
getting involved.
That is correct. Hey man, I'm gonna take a break right quick, bro. Yes, indeed, we back. Hey, Six. One of the questions from the podcast: are you a misogynist or male chauvinist?
Nah, not at all. I
No.
love women.
Your beliefs or thoughts on women shouldn't be taken or perceived to be male chauvinistic.
No, I don't believe so. I think that
Okay.
I just think from a practical standpoint, I view things from a father's angle. I look at things like I believe women should indeed, in fact, do whatever they feel like they should, in fact, want to do with their bodies. You know, I think that but there should be some sort of checks and balances and accountability like there is for men.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's all. I just think that we're in a strange time right now where a lot of people aren't really even willing to have these conversations unless they come off as being or perceived as being a negative because people are afraid of what the conversation might reveal.
Okay. Just asking because that's one of the questions I got asked, and I think I might have answered it on a podcast with Creed, or I did a questions and answers, and I think I may have answered the question. I can't remember for myself, but
Right.
my response to that is no. I'm not. I'm not. I just think that the biggest thing that matters to me is the family aspect, and I think we're
Yep.
so far off course that the women feel one way, the men feel one way, and we're not coming together to kind of sort things out to make sure that we balance it out and make sure that we push the family back in front and have the man and the woman lead, or the man lead and the woman is right next to
Just
him.
be as a support. Yeah, be a support. I
Yeah,
think that I think that if women do want to lead, let's say a woman does want to lead, which I'm pretty sure a lot of women do want, and we don't have to be on this topic too long anyway. But if a woman wants to be in a position of leadership in the household, it's she has to know it has a lot more to do with just the finances. I mean, because the expectation of leadership on a man is always way more than just finances at all
yeah.
times.
There's
So
more
to
than
take
finance.
on
It's
that role,
maintenance.
yes, the maintaining of the household in general, man. You gotta make the tough decisions. Yeah, he might come ask you what you think, but guess who they gonna come see when shit go wrong?
Yeah, the maintenance of
You know
the
what I'm
house, the
saying?
maintenance of the vehicles. Uh, man, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
And
And
again, if a
we,
woman wants to do it because she saw her mama do it and her grandmama do it, hey, by all means. But did they do it alone or did they do it with a man in the house?
yeah, yeah. Just one of those things, man. I don't know if I
Yeah.
asked you before, but I wanted to put it out there and get your answer on it.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I love women. I'm a very strong advocate for women. I'm raising my daughter with all the information on both sides that I can conceive, and I always have her have these conversations with other women to confirm with, or at least help her understand the other side of it, because it ain't always about what you think in the moment. Some things are way deeper than what you perceive. You got to have these conversations. You got to talk it out.
All right. Last good movie you saw.
Uh, everything, everywhere, all at once.
I still haven't finished. I watch it in parts.
That movie is perfect. That movie is perfect cinema. Even the goofy shit was in the right context. It wasn't like it was just I'm gonna make a stupid ass scene for the sake of being stupid. It actually fit what the theme was of the film.
Yeah, it did, but I was just like, all right, I can't watch too much of it because now makes my mind go active, and then I want to go do shit. So I have to turn it off at a certain point, like work on a
That movie is like an
podcast or go
anime.
do something. Yeah, I have to work on a
It's like a live
podcast
action
or
anime.
yeah, do some music, or I have to do something because it's like, yo, you got to get active. You got to get active. Um, I forgot my other question. Oh, do you have or can you name your top five comedy movies?
Top five comedy movies.
Yes, sir.
That's tough. I never even thought about those movies, but I can think of like, let me see. Maybe I first have to determine which one is my number one.
You just don't have a top five. I mean,
All right,
I
so I'm
mean,
ready.
not in a rank, but I mean, if you want to rank them, you can go
I
ahead and
mean,
rank them.
top five. So like five being the lowest of the bunch would probably be Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence would be five. That don't make it a horrible movie. It's in my top
No, it's in the
100.
top.
It's just the
Yeah,
top five.
yeah.
Number four would be Half Baked probably would have been higher if it was if it just had all the right pieces in place. That would
Okay,
probably be the perfect movie.
okay.
But yeah, Half Baked right over Life. My number three would be this is a tough one. It'd probably be Cable Guy.
Cable guy.
Cable Guy.
Wow. I wasn't
Jim
expecting that.
Jim Carrey is so fucking that nigga. That motherfucker was at his peak playing that character. Him and Ben Stiller going off each other. The only other movie above that I would probably put it'd have to be Tropic Thunder.
Get the fuck
Tropic Thunder
out.
right above that one. So I got
Okay.
one more. It's my number
Okay.
one.
All right.
My number one is Trading Places, Eddie Murphy.
Trading Places, Eddie Murphy. Okay.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
Okay.
Nigga, my shit is eclectic.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that, like Trading Places.
Trade Places is fucking hilarious. When you actually watch it and you realize that some of that shit was real life happening. Like it's based on some real shit that could happen, but it was so fucking over the top.
All right. Okay. Questions about it.
Hmm.
Where not about your list, but about these specific movies. Where would you put Coming to America?
It'll be like my six or seven.
Okay. And then what would you put Hangover?
Hangover probably be like 12.
Really? Okay.
It's down there. It's funny, but some of those gags didn't don't age well.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. That's all I got. Anything anything else you
Any
want to
other
add?
questions?
Yeah, no, those are the questions,
Yeah.
I haven't done a questions and answers, but some of those
Hey,
questions that come in, they're kind of like repetitive. They just ask them a different way. So it's kind of like
I got
there's
you.
there's no point in asking the same question over and over again if we're gonna either if I'm gonna answer it live or you're gonna come in or here and answer it in something else and then continue to just pound me with the same question. Like it don't make sense to keep asking the same questions.
I get you. I think that a lot of this, I mean, this is a subjective line of questions anyway, because it's based on my own personal taste, right?
Correct. Correct.
Like I know that as a community we have this notion that we monolithically like the same shit, but that
That's
ain't
not true.
necessarily always the case. You know what I'm saying? And like a lot of people will put fucking Big Mama's house in their top five,
Yeah.
some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Some, you know what I'm saying? Depending on where they come, what era they come from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? My era is like the oldest movie on my list is Trading Places. I was a fucking young ass 5 year old kid when that movie came out, maybe. But
Hmm.
my dad was playing that shit, and I was sitting watch it with him. And when I got old enough to realize what that movie was about, it hit even better for me. You know what I'm saying? Some movies haven't even grown on most people yet. That
I
movie grew on me.
I think I remember that movie. I haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah. That's the movie where Dan Aykroyd was a stockbroker and Eddie Murphy was on the streets hustling and shit. He was in the beginning of the movie, he was on the little board rolling down the street acting like he was blind, and the police stopped him. He ended up in jail. The he bumped into Dan Aykroyd somehow, and Dan Aykroyd bosses, two old white men, wanted to bet that Eddie Murphy could make them more money than Dan Aykroyd, and created a scenario that forced them to have to switch roles. Now Dan Aykroyd on the streets poor and shit, and Eddie Murphy worked for these two white dudes, and they bet $1
$1.
that $1 and fucked up Dan Aykroyd's life, and gave Eddie Murphy this level of ego and prestige before he realized these motherfuckers using me. And
Mm.
then what happened is they decided to get together. They at some point they intersected and they decided to plot against the two white dudes.
Okay.
And it's a dude. That movie is written like
I feel
very
like
well.
there
They
was
don't
a
write shit like that.
I feel like there was a movie similar to something like that where a guy like someone made a wish or something and the guys ended up trading places with each other and um I can't remember what
No,
it was.
this shit was like some Illuminati level trading places. You know, like in the ones where they wish on it, like or the ones like some movie Big with Tom Hanks,
Hmm.
where it's a wish that's made and the
Yeah,
kid
that's
just
what
magically.
yeah, that's what I'm
But thi-
talking about.
this shit is. two old white men financially powerful enough to manipulate the lives of these two dudes and force them to switch roles in life.
Mm.
Dude, think about how deep that is, bro. Think about that. This movie was funny as hell. It had Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
She been around so long.
Yeah, yeah, she's been around for a while.
Yeah, she been
That
around a
was a good
long
movie.
time.
But I got to stick around on movies. I just that once the topic came up, it kind of had me reminiscing and shit, thinking about
Yeah,
it now.
yeah. That's why I brought that one up. I was like, this is something away from all the seriousness of the topics that we go into. So
Right.
ended on something lighthearted. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are done here. Six, is there anything else you want to cover?
Nah, man, I think I'm good.
All right. As always, if you're listening to the podcast, we are at the end. Remember the mission statement when you're striving for greatness. God never puts you in driver's seat if it's taken. We are done here. Y'all be
Peace.
safe.